My favorite part of that is listening to Steve do his version of the song.
I can't tell what's instrumental and what's Steve, though.
Yeah, I mean, a little scat goes a long way. Hey, welcome to the party. So tonight,
do we know this art first 4786? I want to say we do.
Yes, we do know that person, but I don't remember. We should really start writing this down.
We should.
We should.
Sorry, Johnson, go ahead.
All right. So tonight we are going to talk about Dragon's Lair. Let me introduce the game players, so to speak. We have Scott Kolins.
Hey.
Stephen B. Jones.
Yoo-hoo.
Jojo Aguilar.
Thanks for having me.
And me, Jeff Johnson. Most everyone knows the three of us, me, Steve, and Scott, and we are comic book artists and animators, and this is a show we do every week, just in case this is the first time for anyone. And joining us is Jojo, who is an old friend and an amazing animation superstar. Jojo, you're working on you a ton of stuff right now. Can you talk about any of it?
Actually, I didn't get clearance on that.
Okay.
I'm art directing one show or one pilot, one production designing one series that hasn't been announced yet, and then doing a bunch of development projects at Lex and Otis.
Oh, right on.
I was gonna say, can you brag about the company that you're working for?
Oh, I can. Yeah. It's led by Jay Oliva, one of the best in the business, and we've all worked with him.
Uh-huh.
And
except Scott Kolins, but Jeff and I worked for him.
Right. And Dave Hartman, Chris Lazinski. Oh, amazing artists, like tons of the best of the best. So
very, very cool. And so if you want to check out some of JoJo's credits, they're listed in the description box down below, as is all of our various stuff. So let's move on to Dragon's Lair. So when we picked the Dragon Lair topic, it's something I've always kind of wanted to talk about more, since as a kid I loved it and did not have a lot of disposable income, so didn't actually get to play it much, but watched it a lot, right? So Jojo said the same thing earlier, like didn't play it much because the timing was hard and it took a lot of practice, but I did love watching the game, and you could just hang out at the arcade, and a lot of places had the game and then they had like a big screen showing what was going on, showing the action. So it became kind of like a cartoon you could just check in on.
Totally.
Well, I was lucky enough to have a nerdy friend that Jeff knew. Jeff and I both, I knew this kid from grammar school named Darren Kochi, who that Jeff and I grew up with. He and I used to trade comic books regularly, and even from a very young age, Darren was way more savvy than me. He was always getting the better end of the trades. It'd be like, geez, I really want this one Marvel team up because I collect Marvel team ups, and he'd have one. So it'd be like, all right, well, you could trade me, I don't know, like 7 of your Man Called Novas for that one Marvel team up, and I would foolishly go along with it. But an important thing to be able to get more bang for your buck with Dragon's Lair was to have a friend to go play with, because then you could watch them play and learn from them, and also save your quarters, or pool them.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, Eric Snyder, I never made it personally all the way to the end, but I saw it played often, and it was kind of funny because we're going to go through it in a little while, and I have to say, not that satisfying of an ending.
No, I think it's probably for the best I never made it to the end. I think I've said this before too, but Darren and I would wait at the bus stop to go to the round table that had the game, and while we were waiting at the bus stop, we would actually rehearse. We'd stand there and be like, okay, so it's jump, like you'd be Dirk the Daring, So it's jump, left, sword, left, jump. Like we would physically just try to act it out as a way to try to remember what the hell we were supposed to do.
Man, it's such a different world. It's such a different world. All right, let's show some of the drawings and some of the stuff from it. We'll start with here's just this, right? I always love that. But let's go.
Your quest awaits.
Yeah, here we go. So here are some of the things that were on the screen.
At some point more in the future, we'll have to do a bigger dive about talking about Don Bluth, his career, him being at Disney, then breaking away, doing Secret of Nim, and then what led to him coming and working on this cartoon. But that will not be today's episode. Today, we're just going to talk about the drawings.
Right. We're going to talk about drawings, but there is some of that. The Dragonzord was in production for a while, and then the person who was trying to make it work saw the Secret of Nim and realized that Don Bluth was the man for the job.
Right.
And in that episode with Don Bluth, there's tons of stories I hear about him. You guys hear that? You hear those stories about him?
Some good, some bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Dragon's Lair. One of the things I liked about going through this game frame by frame was seeing just the way they use color. Old school animation, cell shade, like classic painting. Like,
oh yeah, so beautiful.
Well, this is all pretty much not entirely pre-digital. Like digital technology existed, but very, very limited.
Yeah,
technology.
All the stuff it's hand drawn and it's cell shaded and painted and hand painted, and
Johnson, we're losing you a little bit.
Oh boy.
I think he froze. Go ahead, Steve.
It's purple. It's lovely.
Or maybe we should go to Jojo. Jojo, you talk about this.
Okay.
Let me warm up, Scott. Jeez. Said one word and I'm already kicked off.
Well, he's our guest.
Please scold Scott. Now back to Jojo.
I love the contrast, and man, it is so colorful.
Also,
I mean, how much fun looking at this stuff that it really seemed like it was aimed at a really young person, not even necessarily 16, like I would think the average gamer would have been at that time. But it was actually like, to me, this is aimed towards like 10-year-olds or something.
Right. But I mean, when I look at the animation, it is very sophisticated. But just so that last shot was a establishing shot, and they were zooming in, and then there was parallaxing, and it was what is it, tilting at the same time. So it was more dynamic than just that one frame.
Hey Scott, can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Great.
Is that Jeff Johnson?
I think Dan was trying to get in. Did you see him down there?
I did not.
Did he ruin the whole show?
No, I think that I did not catch it in time because my thing dropped out. So,
oh boy.
Jojo, you said parallaxing on that opening shot of the castle. What does that mean?
Parallaxing is when the foreground object is moving a little faster than the background, and
yeah.
You know, it gives the illusion of depth and movement, like it's when you're zooming in or panning. The foreground moves a lot faster than the background.
Right.
Yeah, the most common, like there's quite a few good examples of it in the last time we had our masterful guest here, Jojo, on Castle of Cagliostro, right? Like even in something in like a flat shot, like say there's some shots of Lupin in the car driving, and you've got the foreground elements moving at one speed, right? But then the background elements might be 2 or 3 different layers that are also on different. That's parallax too, isn't it, Jojo?
Yes, it's it.
Okay. All right. Hang on a second. Can you guys hear me now? Am I back?
You're in. You're good, and you're solid now.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So let's do this next one.
Oh, yeah, use the sword.
Yeah. So there you go.
And what I remember is, the buttons and the movement wasn't hard. It was all about when to do it.
The timing, yes. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, so
Because there was almost like a beat, it's like, oh, sword. And you're like, okay, sword. So it'd be like sword, beat. Like, yeah, almost had to wait a beat. If you did it right when you saw the sword, it'd be too early.
right.
Yeah. The timing was tricky. And I don't know if they did that on purpose or was that just the technology, but it never seemed, you had to sync it up because it never quite lined up with the arrow or the sword. It wasn't quite, I would say it wasn't fair.
Mm-mm.
Wait, is our dear friend and compatriot from the original Drink and Draw Social Club, Dan
Yes.
Panoshin, making comments under his new amazing company, Anvil RPG? Is that him in the comments?
I have not seen.
Is that him?
I think so.
Oh, cool.
Anvil Enterprises is how Dan bought himself a car in high school.
It's true. He's been working hard since he was a kid.
So
All right.
I guess it wasn't him.
All right. Well then, let's keep going forward. So one of the things that's great about the show or the cartoon is like there's a lot of repetition. But even though he's doing the same things, they did new backgrounds all the time. There's so many of these cool, like going through a door shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some very smart reuse, right?
Yeah.
In terms of, they're like, okay, can we keep reusing Dirk animation? Because as hard as it is to paint a BG, and Jojo can literally tell us how hard it is to paint a BG, it's still less time consuming than animating figures,
Correct. And there is a lot of reusing of animation too.
Oh yeah.
Especially the walking, jumping, swordplay. But I do want to mention, when I watched this over again, these clips, the walking, the swordplay, the jumping was so exact. I wonder if they used a little bit of rotoscope, but then embellished with exaggerated animation. I don't know how they did it.
I think they did. I know that Bluth is well known for that, adding some good figure movement in there.
Yeah, I think that's a good solid guess because Bluth, Disney and them, they didn't but they did photo film reference of almost everything in every movie, and then I think Bluth has gotten, has been called out for using more rotoscope type stuff like an Anastasia or whatever. But so I definitely think there's a fair amount of live action referencing for this stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a dead Dirk.
Right. There's how many, Scott? So you put in some death scenes. I didn't get a chance to put them in. Did you put your favorite ones or just sort of the most common ones in?
I just took a whole bunch of screenshots as I was looking through it, and then I just kind of picked the ones because some of them, and you'll see one or two of them on here. He's pretty small when he dies because it's him falling down a shaft in the castle or down that torrential water slide thing that he winds up doing. But this was fun. I wound up doing this in 4 or 5 frames of how he dies because usually when he does die, it doesn't matter if he's strangled or he falls down a shaft. He pops up like this, then he turns into the skeleton. And then the skeleton crumbles every time, and then you have to like start over. And I'd forgotten that part. That was fun.
Yeah.
And how cool is that effect? Because they didn't animate a full transformation from alive to dead. They just used the double exposure, the DX.
Right.
Yep.
Reduced exposure.
That takes me back to the old pre-Toon Boom, pre-digital storyboard days. I feel like we were always putting DX effects in our old storyboards like 20 years ago, where it's like, okay, DX shadow, DX smoke effect.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys, storyboarders don't do that anymore. Only seasoned storyboarders know DX, BLDX.
Right.
And it really helps as far as people who are designing the effects and or animation people, that these are transparent shadows. These are, opacity is it's transparent.
Yeah, that the old analog way of doing storyboards would you have to actually call out film techniques and camera techniques.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Right.
Is that the new word we're using, Jojo? Is seasoned?
Yeah.
Seasoned is the new old crotchety.
Yeah.
I like this. I like the sound of that.
I do like the sound of it. It's better than being called vintage. Classic.
It's like a steak.
Well, I don't like old school either. That's
Oh, yeah. The lighting effects.
I mean, yeah, I'd love to draw an entire comic in a very Bluth influenced Dragon's Lair space age style. I just think it's a great heroic and hero and heroine design style, influenced by Disney, but everyone looks just a little bit dopey in kind of a fun way.
Yeah. You see the
Absolutely.
you can see the cell shadow on that one. It's very apparent.
Yeah, one of the things that I really liked about this game in hindsight now, just looking at, because before you would always concentrate so much on what the guy was doing and watching the arrows and the timing, that the lavishness of the background just sort of escaped me.
Yeah, when you're just trying to fight for survival and keep playing the game, you're not having too much time to look at the soak in the backgrounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some beautiful BG paints.
Oh yeah, they're stunning.
And just great BG design first and foremost.
Yeah.
Is this our friend? That looks like our friend.
Yeah, it's so funny, Matthew Clark. I was actually going to bring up Shane because Shane is such a huge, or was at least, he definitely he went through a big Don Bluth obsession era. I know when I first met Shane in the late 90s and used to hang out with him, his sketchbook would be filled with tons and tons of fun studies of Dirk the Daring and Princess Daphne.
Oh,
and Space Ace.
So one of the things Scott and I were talking about is, so what age were you playing this? Prepubescent, like 12, 13, because it's we don't really see Princess Daphne much until the end, but she is a prize worth getting. If you know what I mean.
Cow.
I can't believe her acting, even the mouth flap is spot on, and she is like amazingly sexy.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating thing I now noticed looking at this, which had never occurred to me before, and it would have been such a strange thing for the anime, Bluth and the company to get their head around, was that you're mostly drawing Dirk's back because Dirk is supposed to be us.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're seeing it through his point of view. So we only get these profile shots and other different things. Like, it's interesting that they made the realization that if it's really supposed to be as if we're Dirk, then we shouldn't just be watching it like a regular cartoon.
Right.
But though, I wonder if they changed that more in Space Age a bit.
Well, I think that's a really good point, and that's probably why they put so much attention into animating, like the backpack. They had weight to it, and like everything else in the back, because there wasn't too much to look at. And I don't even know why he has a backpack.
Because he puts gold in it later.
Oh.
But I do wonder, Jojo, if it was created for both visual interest and another way to help sell perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh.
It's a really good storytelling tool.
Right. So
In
since
the
we're
same way
talking about the
ahead.
designs, I loaded up some of the actual character designs.
Ooh la la.
Right. I mean, that does have a Shane Glines feel to it.
Well, definitely.
Well,
And I
think
think-
definitely Tinkerbell too.
Oh yeah.
But
Very-
look how low that thing is cut.
Yeah. Apparently, he was looking at some Playboy magazines.
Was Bluth the kind of guy that he'd take over on that sort of thing? Like, I mean, we've known other directors or whatnot that have that strength of character of like doing the sexy babe or something like that. Do we know if Bluth might have been that same kind of guy? Like that when he would have took over?
I think he did these character designs.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, yeah. I wonder. Bruce Timm worked for Don Bluth on Secret of Nim. I think it was his first art job out of high school.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. This is one of the things I love about old school character sheets is the breakdown, the turn,
Awesome.
yeah, I've always loved seeing how the shapes go together in 3 dimensions.
Jeff really just loved that third dimension.
I do. I love that 3rd dimension. And Scott, so there's a dragon. And then, so that's the Don Bluth dragon, which is a very funny, silly dragon. And then here's Scott's dragon. Scott, can we see your dragon?
Yeah. I had to let my dog out.
Oh, no, don't do that.
Whoa, beautiful.
All right.
I guess, and now
There
we
you go.
know that we finally know the answer to who let the dogs out. It was Scott.
Yeah.
That is a much more
Ta-da.
frightening dragon than in Dragon's
Trying.
Lair. Yeah.
Well, I think you point out, Jeff, it's kind of like there was just supposed to be a slight comedic edge to everything with Dragon's Lair and Space Age, right? Like
Yeah.
Dirk the Daring and Space Ace are both handsome, but they're also just a little bit dopey with how big Dirk's nose is, and the distance between his nose and mouth makes him look somewhat simian, to use a word that our friend Dan Panosian enjoys throwing around, while mocking others. And these guys and the dragon, like as great and well drawn and designed they are, there's a slight comedic aspect to them. But I'm sure they're also having fun that they could push things more than they could at Disney, right? Like both in terms of, flagrant sex appeal or a little bit more, dynamic and kind of crazy.
Right.
Do we have any idea what the size of those concept drawings were?
I believe those are, they look like they're 8 by 11, 8.5 by 11, or even maybe 12 by 14. They're, whatever that animation paper is.
It would have been the industry standard at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Here are some, also, since we're looking at behind the scenes, here's some of the cells.
Ooh.
Oh, crazy.
Wow.
Look at that great line of action.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, Lord, that's cool.
I mean, that's not even in the game.
Good heavens. It is cold in there.
Well, I mean,
Good
so
grief.
there is a comedic element to it, and it is kind of for kids, but there's also, a prepubescent sexiness to it, because you get the hints of Princess, and she's
more of a. It's definitely a bit. I think it's more pubescent than prepubescent.
I guess that's true. Depending on when you were playing, yeah.
There's a beautiful.
Something must have changed during it, because the female lead character, whatever, in Space Ace isn't nearly as overt as the princess is here.
Yeah, she's not super buxom.
She's and she's clothed from like neck to foot.
No, I think they just, God, these BG designs are so great as
Right.
That's cool.
two artists that can draw the hell out of some great BG. I gotta take a BG design job at some point, just so I can say that I've done it like Jojo and Jeff.
It's good practice, that's for sure. All right, so there's the little behind the scenes. Yeah, I love seeing the old school animation stuff.
A rough
Yeah.
animation.
Yeah, what's going on here? What is this? Is it a
That is that we're gonna come to that scene in a second. That's him fighting the Lizard King.
yeah? And is this just a rough animation, like
I think it's just a rough. I think it's just
character
a
layout?
yeah. I think it's just a layout page.
It's interesting, the stuff that was on the top of that page too. It was like almost, was that gaming talk of like, here's the entrance of the hero, here's the buttons they had to use to get out and get free. You know what I mean? Setting up which buttons and toggles to use.
It's kind of like an action map, like which storyboarders would use, but this is even in more like this is what you have to do for the game aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those
Yellow.
big giant feet.
I love that.
Super
I loved
cool.
how big his feet were. I think that might have been the first time that I'd seen such exaggeration too. All right, here we go. All right, guys.
What a dynamic shot.
I know, so much fun. And then the board that falls. That was always scary. We don't really have it here, but the music was great.
It's true.
Right.
Yeah.
It had that great voiceover guy, Dirk the Daring.
Right. Well, so Dirk doesn't actually speak ever, doesn't say anything. Princess Daphne does. Because they were talking about, they wanted it to be an international video game success, and so
Yep.
they kept the translations as limited as possible.
But there's
That's
a lot
really
of good,
cool.
That's like
lot
a
of good Walla.
rainbow of colors.
Yeah. I mean, Jojo, you're great at color, and it definitely seems as though this entire video game is very much keeping to like almost solid oranges, solid greens. They're pretty. I mean, there's not a ton of subtlety, really.
I think there is a lot of different shades. Like for instance, in that green, there's a bunch of different hues going on. But
Right.
I do agree. It's at first glance, it is very poster color straight out of the tube. But but to make it work, I think you have to have a lot of more subtlety going on. Otherwise, it gets too poster colory.
Interesting.
So I'm not disagreeing with you, Jeff, but I can see a lot of different hues.
Yeah, I guess my eye, all I really see is like there's orange, there's purple, there's green. I mean, I know there's a lot of in between stuff, but it seems like that there's that the fields are so specific.
Yes.
And then this color, which isn't in there, and then you get that's just that almost that I know it seems like that's pretty much just a solid blue to me.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of effect this was. Like, does it glow even hotter? I don't remember.
I think it does
sizzles,
something.
right?
I don't know if I have the shot in there, but I have the shots where he died like that, and those are almost whitish blue.
Yeah.
When he jolted then.
Oh, okay.
One of the things I wanted to ask you guys is like, what kind of dragon has just random electricity? Do we think it's electricity or is it magic? Like, what kind of lair is this?
There's a bunch of weird stuff in this castle, man.
I'm pretty sure it's technically a dragon's lair, Jeff. It says right in the title.
Oh, I mean, that's a good point.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's getting zapped.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an unpleasant part of the game.
Oh, those spinning things.
Right.
Yeah.
They weren't easy.
Oh, the timing on these was a nightmare.
I think it was like you had to move right when he says like, oh, or something like that, and then you hit forward.
Yeah.
Some of the things on here, I don't know if it was for these guys or not, but it was, I think, more towards the end of the game. They talked about on a special that I watched where they would light up what you were supposed to do or where you were supposed to go. They were supposed to give you a hint of what to do because, yeah, people were complaining of how hard it was to get through stuff. And apparently it's regular in Space Ace all over the place, as that was the second video that the game that they made.
So they make Space Ace a little bit easier to understand.
Right. But there were some things in here. I did see it in the video, and I don't know if the video was the later version of it, if it was fixed later or whatever. But, you know, like they'd have a little glow either on that doorway or, you know, something on the floor to, you know, to note the fact that he's supposed to move left, then go through the door or whatever he's supposed to do.
Right. Yeah. This scene with the glowing, with the yellow sword and the purple mace and the green anvil, and then the guy like,
This is a fair comment too. I hadn't seen all the game all the way too, except for the wonderful people on YouTube that have posted all this stuff
Yeah,
all these years.
yeah.
Oh,
I remember.
well,
Go
Beef
ahead, Steve.
Waterfall's on. You know who Beef Waterfall is, right?
Who
No.
is that?
Tim.
Oh,
No.
Tim. Oh, there you go. Hey, Tim.
Hey, future guest on this show,
Yeah.
Tim DeVar, superstar.
Yay!
I remember when you would see a new thing. It's coming up in a second, but do you guys remember the first time you saw the giant balls, the rainbow balls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean in Dragon's Lair?
In Dragon's Lair,
Yes.
yes. Yeah, not at home.
That almost looked 3D. Like it was animated so well. It looked like, after looking at it a second time, it looked like 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
There's some BLDX effects.
Exactly. SFX. Oh, especially the water, like when someone's swimming or underwater, that water effect. It wasn't like didn't you put a piece of like plastic over it to give it that water look, Jojo? Wasn't there a specific call out for that?
I don't know anything about that. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you
When someone's underwater.
Oh, right. Yes, I understand. Oh, yeah. I don't know how they did that. I honestly don't, but that sounds like that's feasible, Jeff.
Oh, the layers.
I had one of those shots. Hang on, I may not be able to upload it in time.
Oh, for the death shot when he's here?
Well, there's a couple of them that I had picked up that I don't know if there.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah,
Where he
the
got
beds are
grabbed by a squid or tentacle thing and he got dragged into the water.
Oh,
really grisly. I forgot how grisly some of the deaths were.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ouch.
Press sword.
Yeah, we had that electrified one. I may not have been able to put that one yet in either.
Okay, hang on a second. Let's see that one.
The Return of Ka from Jungle Book.
Oh yeah. Did he work on Jungle Book? Is that no? He didn't. Obviously.
I
It's
think
Disney.
that might be before Blue's time.
It's a little
Bluth
hard to
did
see on
work.
my phone, but
He
you can
did
see
work
his
at
face.
Disney, but
Yeah. Hey Scott, show us the
Anyway.
dragon again. That's coming along.
oh wow.
Wow. Very scary. Yeah. I mean, I think you need to give him a little bit of the face fins.
Oh
And
yeah.
His neck is so thick.
Actually, this one's compared to I was looking at Smog's neck.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
They actually gave him a very thick neck. I guess, to the idea that they were going to play up that it was going to glow and all that
Right.
going to crawl up from his stomach to his neck or whatever.
Oh, hey, you guys, have you done a show on Rankin Bass?
Not yet. We absolutely should.
Yeah.
We should do Mad Monster Party, but we got to do maybe
Oh.
for Halloween we'll do Mad Monster Party, and then for around Christmas we could do Frosty and some of the other great Rankin Basses. That would be great.
That would be fun. That would definitely be fun.
So iconic shows.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
Is it Burgermeister Meisterburger? Is that the
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Mr. Jeff's Mr.
Christmas show,
Heat
right?
Miser.
No.
Yeah. But I think that's I forget the title, the one about when there's no that's pretty. Nice water effect on the sides.
Mm-hmm.
Reminiscent of reminds me of that shot in Cagliostro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's beautiful.
And I think those shadows in the water and stuff move too.
Yeah,
They do, yeah. Oh boy, watch out.
Gonna get squished.
Spider.
Yeah, that actually. The monsters, they are creepy, but there is kind of always a fun goofiness to it.
You got to get 37,000 points before you even get a glimpse of Daphne.
You're like there she is.
Save me.
Why is she here? Yeah, who is grabbing her? And then the Black Knight.
Hey, I didn't notice this until now, but the characters don't have shadows on them, and it still works. You know?
No,
Oh yeah.
right, and they don't have shadows on the ground either. They don't cast a shadow.
It does still work. I think just because the structural drawing is so good. This Black Knight by way of Baron Karza a little bit.
This
We're going to move so fast
is
with these
hard.
episodes.
This is one of the
Yeah, that
ones
was
where
super
I
hard.
definitely remember rehearsing it at the bus stop to try to remember what this pattern was.
I believe your math is correct, Bill.
Oh,
That is
$50
so
a
cool.
quarters. Yeah, at least $50. I mean, even if you were playing the tag team way that Jones did, this game cost a fortune.
Well, everybody
did.
had to work together in these things. I don't know anybody that did this stuff alone.
No.
I mean, it was the same thing on Cliffhanger. There was 4 or 5 of us, and we're all like taking notes of what you died because you went to the left.
Yeah, I remember there would always be a crowd of people, of friends also, just watching and coaching. And
Writing notes in our peachy folders.
Oh, the peach. Oh, the analog days, the analog era.
Oh, the seasoned life we led.
Oh, yeah. Seasoned. Vintage. There we go. Look, I mean, look at that banana. So,
That's so cool.
They spent so much time up. So, I guess the whole movie or the whole game cost $3 million. And then $1 million of that was spent on just the animation, and that's back in 83, 82. So that was that was a lot of money.
Yeah. That's why it cost 50 cents.
Yeah. Well,
I think it was the first game I remember costing more than $1.25.
Well, apparently you had to rent this game. I mean, you had to rent all the games, but so if you were an arcade, you rented this game, and if I remember correctly, it was like $4,000 to buy it, and then it was so popular that, and they had screens to show what was happening for people just watching the game, that sometimes in the afternoon some places would shut the game down, so you would be forced to play other arcade games.
That's fascinating.
Although there was the other effect where these actually had laser discs in the game. That's how the game ran.
Right.
To have the effects. And there were reports that the laser disc did overheat from usage or whatever.
Scott, you used to have a Laserdisc player. You had some great stuff. You had The Thing. What else did you have? Aliens?
Escape from New York. That's the
York.
first Laserdisc I ever saw, was over at Scott's house.
Yeah. That was from Sean.
That was a great Laserdisc. I mean, I
think it's the first director's commentary.
Yeah,
it's the first commentary I ever heard was
absolutely
John Carpenter and Kurt Russell talking about Escape from New York. My mind was absolutely blown.
That was so good.
Yeah, those guys really dropped a lot of knowledge. All right, and then here is the strangest test in the whole Lair.
Oh shit! I totally forgot
that, didn't you, Jones?
I did, but now it's like I just got goosebumps, a little sick to my stomach.
Right.
Jeff and I were talking about this before, and I was actually cracking on Bluth a little bit, going like, "Does Bluth even know what's in a castle? What the heck is going on here?"
Right.
But you know what? Now that I'm looking at it again, I'm thinking actually the gamer people might have said, "Put in something like this."
Oh yeah, I'm sure the meetings were like, "Let's have it." Well, we can't have him just running through doors for 10 minutes.
Yeah, Scott, it's way better that it's sort of weirdly abstract in this way.
It still works.
It's
still fun.
Holy cow! There's some
these
shadows
things were
for you.
Oh, there's one. There it is.
Put
it in the wrong spot though.
That's all right. That's a good one.
Holy cow! That's a nice water effect.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant scene. I don't have the whole scene in there, but right behind that water there, he goes up to a giant garage door that's over there. He pulls on that chain, and the garage door opens, and all that water comes pouring out, and then eventually drags him down the rest of the shaft or whatever that hallway that he's in.
Yeah, that's.
But back then
that's
it
one of
was
those
super
cutscenes.
great.
I watched this over again, and even the water like straight down, they put like a flat color, and then just like 4 or 5 tiny ripples in certain spots, and it looked like real water. You know, so it was just so efficient and well thought of plan.
Great effects animation.
Yeah, throughout this whole thing, there's incredible effects animation. Oh, but that's a brutal one.
And you see it shoot through him.
Yeah, one of the great little details is like his backpack is being pushed away from his body. Boop. Yep.
Yeah. So many points you see the backpack like different heaviness to it, and same with the sword. You could really feel the heaviness of the sword.
You're right, Jojo. I think there might be some animation where he's running and the backpack bounces away from his body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so they created a lot of extra work for themselves with that backpack, but I also think it gives them a lot. It's in the same way that, like, if a character has a cape or long hair, you can help really sell direction and momentum, and I think that's some of what the backpack was there. I don't know, it'd be fascinating to talk to them about how they made that decision, but
well, they had to justify that $1 million,
right? Well, guys, so I'm not much of a video game player. I've tried, but I get too
not since the accident.
No, not since I lost the mobility in that side of my body. So I don't know historically, is this the first like video game that's a first person follow along game? Like, was there one before it, or is this the first one that ever did it?
I think this is the first one, because those other reports I was reading said that this is in the Smithsonian along with Pong and Pac-Man.
Okay.
So
I mean, so it broke ground in multiple ways then.
Right. Yeah, because then video games, all the first person shooters and the follow along, like Tomb Raider and Resident, like all the ones where you're following behind the main character and you are seeing things from their point of view. If this is the first one to do that, that's that is Smithsonian worthy.
How amazing that this game breaks all this ground, right? Just as a video game, but that it's also just feature length or feature quality animation by Don Bluth. That it so easily could have just been a really shittily animated game that had all this gameplay. The fact that it's so goddamn good, you know? I would have much rather seen a feature of Dragon's Lair in 1983 than go see the Black Cauldron again.
I mean,
Black Cauldron.
Leave the Black Cauldron alone.
No,
it did its best.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. Did it?
It did its best. It tried.
That poor thing was cursed.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things to overcome. So this to me was the hardest part of the game, fighting the Lizard King.
Tim, by the way, bringing up an important, yes. Tim, if you tuned into our Castle of Cagliostro episode, you would know that we discussed that there was a game of Cliffhanger. I actually played it both in the tryout and in my television debut in 1983 on the amazing game Starcade. I had to play Cliffhanger.
Oh, it's a long life, my friend. You've had many adventures.
Hopefully
I just
many more.
remembered that Cliffhanger. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Agree, Tim. We should pitch it. Find out who owns the rights. Did Lex and Otis get the rights? Can we do it?
There was a time when Ryan Reynolds was talking about doing it.
Oh my God.
Cliffhanger
would be perfect for it.
Perfect. Yeah. Not Cliffhanger. You mean Dragon's Lair?
Dragon's Lair. Yeah.
No, actually, Ryan Reynolds. Well, I mean, except that you'd like to see Lupin be Asian. If you were gonna whitewash Lupin, then Ryan Reynolds would be a good Lupin.
What was the video game company that made this, Scott?
Oh, that I'm not gonna remember.
Because
I can find out though.
Have the rights.
Yeah, there was a Dragon's Lair 2, and there was also the TV show, and there was a movie development that Ryan Reynolds was. I don't know if he was attached to it to be the main guy, or if he was gonna. I don't think it. He would have been involved if he wasn't gonna play Dirk.
Jojo, the publisher is listed as Cinematronics.
Oh, interesting.
Tim DeVar, Beef Waterfall. I like this idea. The epic journeys of Stephen Jones. Let's pitch that to Lex Notice. Jojo can be the art director.
Right.
Dave Hartman can be executive producer. Jay Oliva can be whatever's bigger than an executive producer. Jeff and Scott can storyboard on it. I'll do the designs.
Yeah.
There you go. Money in the bank.
And the voice, obviously. No, Steve, you have to audition. You have to audition to play yourself.
There you go. Thanks, Scott. Hang on. Let's see that up close.
I don't remember that.
And they apparently went defunct in 87.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh,
Well, I mean, they had a big hit.
Trade Web. If we know who they are.
Leland Corp. No.
Anything else you wanted to Google for us, Scott, and then put up on the screen?
No, I'll find something. What do you want?
Just if you could look up
Ingredients
Albuquerque con man and just to Google that. Ooh, purple.
Yeah.
This is the water one. There's so much great water animation in this sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's great about that is the textures, right? Like it's very clearly not water.
Right.
Like that is not animated like water. It's like it's whatever weird, liquid they're trying to sell there.
It's
With weird
Earth.
sudsy. Forgot about that joke, ye boulders.
Right. Oh.
Ye old comic shoppy.
There it is.
Oh, boy.
There's one of his crashes.
Oh, brutal.
But when I was looking through these things, there's 5 different water scenarios that are in there. It's always the same kind of crash. There's sometimes in blue water, sometimes in red water.
Like the orangeade water.
Yep.
Smart design element to have Dirk be in red because most of the time he always pops. But he even pops even when they've got him in red or orange, I have to say. But
yeah, the color theory on this is brilliant. Like he always know exactly where he is, and there's the colors change, but it's even that bright green. Like he's easy to spot.
Yep.
And
I forgot that. That's awesome.
the
I have
blue
an idea
barrel,
for.
blue chain. It wouldn't
Jeff-
work if it was dark black or brown.
No. Now Jeff would like it if I would study how these chains are drawn a little bit more closely.
Jojo, there's some of that water effect you were talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's just a flat color, but they just animate these swirling things, and it's not a lot, but it's efficient.
Yeah, it totally works.
Oh God, that's a great
Yeah,
setup.
look at the light. Look at the light and all. I mean, the composition is ridiculous. I had to steal that. That's such a great. Talk about using the background to point towards your target.
Yeah, that's great.
It would look great completely broken down. It would look great with no with no tonal things on it, and then I'm sure it would look great as a black and white tonal drawing, and then it looks great as a color drawing.
Right. And that shows you the craftsmanship and they really knew how to work with the backlighting and because they didn't have compositors back then to digitally add bloom or diffusion. They did it so ingeniously with backlighting.
Steve, are you chewing an ice cube?
Wait, I'll Google it.
Yeah. There's Daphne.
No.
Oh, so cute. So cute.
Tim DeVar has another great idea. This is true. We should pitch it to someone. Kind of like what's that great game that's taken the world by storm about the Cuphead thing? You know, that's kind of in retro 1930s animation style.
Mm-hmm.
It would be terrific to see someone do something like this.
Hell yeah.
I have an idea for a fan drawing of this. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and just do it for fun and then post it on the air. Because if I tell everyone my idea, you'll all go, "Oh, that's a brilliant idea," and then I'll never do it. So I'm just going to not say what the idea is, and then I'll just next time we have JoJo on, I'll post it.
Well,
Okay.
here's a Jones question, if there ever was one.
I mean, I guess if you have Ryan Reynolds play Dirk, then you feel like you want to have Blake Lively, but
I mean, she is gorgeous, but
She'd be great.
holy cow, it's an acid monster.
that's a good one. I always like that one.
Yikes!
That guy
So when
just
you get
with his hands.
yeah, so Jones, you played this at a pizza place? That was your go-to?
I definitely think they had one at the Round Table in Danville, which Jeff has definitely had pizza at.
Indeed.
Jeff missed out on playing there after soccer games because he was too old by then. But I'm sure we had some post karate pizza at that place.
I do miss just going to the arcade. Right. I just think that was so much fun because there was okay, now we're getting into the final
for a little while like there was an arcade place in Pasadena for a while. I think it closed. But it was fun. When the kids were little, I took them there for a little while, and they also had Nintendo for kids. It was basically just adults that were playing all the stand-up old arcade games.
Right. Oh yeah, the money spent. All right, so here now this is the final scene. He's fully in the dragon's lair, and
what is he looking at?
He's looking at. He finally gets
What
close
could
to
he possibly be looking at there?
Princess Daphne
He's almost like a Chuck Jones wolf.
in her little bubble.
Or Tex Avery.
You're right. That's what I meant.
Oh yeah,
her sort of that the dress effect is such a great idea because she's basically in an extremely low cut bikini, but by giving her dress working that way, besides the fact that it's just flowy and interesting and a great costume design, but that was just a very inspired idea, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Little diaphanous, sparkly gown. Love it.
Hints of Princess Aurora with the hair.
Oh.
But then again, there's something kind of goofy. I mean, just like Dirk's nose, Daphne's beautiful, but her nose is a little bit, there's something just the tiniest bit dopey about her, just like there's something more than a tiny bit dopey about Dirk.
She kind of reminds me of Rapunzel from Tangled.
Or,
but her eyes are always so open here. I think that might be partially what's doing it, Jones, is that her eyes are always like so open.
Mm-hmm.
She reminds me of the character. Now I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of this character, but the woman that's in love with Nathan Detroit in Guys and Dolls. You know,
You can't remember her name, Steve, from Guys and Dolls.
I can look it up.
Have Scott do it. All right.
She sings "I Love You" a bushel and a peck.
That's the best reference ever. The Guys and Dolls reference.
Oh, are you talking about that one with Peter Gallagher or something Gallagher?
Peter Gallagher did do a remake of it. Adelaide, Miss Adelaide is the name of the character, I think.
There you go. Guys and Dolls disaster averted.
Don't make me start singing. All right.
All right.
Yeah, exactly, Joe Donnelly. She's not in a bikini, Mom. She's in a dress.
She's in a dress, right? Isn't it weird that 100 guys are sitting around watching another guy play this game so we can all see this cartoon? That's nothing. That's not weird. Desperate. That's what we were when we were teenagers in the 80s. Desperate for any kind of even partial nudity.
But definitely her crown. You know what I mean? Like the way that they animate the crown, its size, that's all that stuff is kind of what gives it a goofy. You know, adds a comedic effect to her. The fact that she's not wearing a tiara. She's wearing kind of a goofy size.
Right. And quite honestly, I don't think I was of age to think that way when I was playing this. I probably was, but my mentality wasn't. I just wanted to finish the game or get as far as I could. I didn't want to, you know,
Marry Princess Daphne.
You were trying to save the princess?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I definitely, even if she was making me feel funny feelings inside, I was still probably thinking of marrying her. I was still young enough that I attached those feelings to the institution of marriage.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, she's gonna
I want to marry that girl.
Oh yeah, she's the one.
I think the following year, I was pretty convinced I was going to grow up and marry Christy Brinkley too.
Perfect.
I was pretty convinced.
We'll cut away to her.
Damn, these are so good.
Yeah.
Sparkles on her dress is great. That's a very awesome shot of Dirk.
And as much as I think that dragon is silly, I love
threatening too.
Yeah, I love how much movement there is in his neck and those fins on his face.
Yeah.
Tiny shade of very true, Tim. Tiny shade of Fin Fang Foom in some of these shots too.
All right.
Yeah.
Uptown girl.
Okay, there we go.
I
Look,
don't know how much. I don't know how much
Keith.
away I can. I don't know how much singing I can get away with before we get into some copyright issues on our show. So
we're almost at the end. So little fire. He gets the sword, and then
That's a bit of fire.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of fire. Then you've been playing for God knows how long. You've spent your allowance, all the money you could steal from your mother's purse, all your friends' allowances, and then you get to this place, and then you block some fire. The princess cheers, and then
namaste,
and then you throw your sword one time. It lands in the dragon's chest, and he dies. So for all our D&D friends, he rolled a natural 20.
Yeah.
With the magic
3 times.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Remember this.
So then he falls. Where's the one with the key? And then the key is around the dragon's neck. And
right.
He has to. I guess we don't have that one, but we have. So then he gets the key, and then her little globe pops.
I remember.
Right there, she is.
Ooh la la.
Jumps into his arms, and then gives him a
Smoochy,
kiss.
smoochy.
And then my favorite expression, the only expression I like more than this expression right here on his face. I didn't think about finding it, but like, do you guys remember the Chuck Jones cartoon with
such a
Yes.
Chuck Jones expression.
Oh, Jeff, before you even say it, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Tell me which one, Jojo.
Okay, was it Tom and Jerry?
No, it wasn't a Tom and Jerry one.
Oh,
I'm
It was
sorry.
It was the bulldog with a little cat on his back.
oh yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Which Tom and Jerry one?
That's the look that you imagine that the coyote would ever get if he could
if he
ever
got-
catch
yeah.
the Roadrunner.
Oh, such a good. I mean, that expression is worth the entire price of the game.
Yeah.
So
That's
brilliant.
amazing.
And by the way, the animation on her, when I was watching the replay of the animation, on her was so amazing.
It
So
is pretty top notch. Well, just look at. So I don't know about you guys, but I have a hard time drawing really fluid and natural looking breast, and just those few lines, how well he captured it.
The weight,
Yeah.
They are well placed.
Well, those are perfect lines. All right,
Yep.
gentlemen, that's the last shot, and then it ends.
Well, clearly, I guess we're going to have to do Space Ace at a later time because I didn't realize we were only going to do Dragon's Lair. So, all
Well,
right,
I mean,
challenge accepted.
Yeah, I do think that there's Dragon's Lair 2, and there's Space Ace, and then there's the TV show, and I do think that it is an interesting cultural touchstone. I mean, that everyone knows this game, and we all played it, and I don't think the people I've talked to about it, like most of them didn't I think everyone really remembers specific parts, but very few people played all the way through and saw the whole ending.
Yeah. You had to be highly skilled or highly wealthy, or a combination of the two.
Yeah, or just be there at the right time.
Or you had to have a whole football team that was all making mistakes and figuring it out.
Yeah.
I think, as Stip said it, I had a friend like that who was super nerdy, who would be able to finish, and I would just feel elated watching him. You know.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, Hondo, I don't remember ever seeing that second Dragon's Lair game. Do you?
No,
remember
I never
it?
did. I never saw it either. Yeah, I never saw it, and to be honest, I don't think I ever really played Space Ace. I played it a little bit, but there was something about it that wasn't as compelling.
Yeah, apparently it didn't go over as well as Dragon's Lair did the first time. And I think part of that is just that Dragon's Lair was so new. It was the first of its kind.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was something else about it. I don't know exactly what it was. Maybe they were missing the Princess Daphne, but yeah,
that's my theory.
But Space Ace had kind of that fun element where you Dexter, you started as a nerd and then you could get cool. Or wait, no, you started cool and then you reduced to being nerd, and then you could kind of go back and forth between being cool and a nerd.
Right. I did a little bit of research on that too. And yeah, the villain had an infanto ray that made him younger.
That's right.
What does that mean?
It could turn you into an infant.
Oh.
If it went all the way down, yeah, it was going to turn him into which is what happens at the end of the Space Ace, not to be the spoiler, sorry. Right. At the end of the Space Ace game, he winds up shooting the bad guy. The bad guy turns into a baby.
Oh.
That's the winning of the game.
See, there's a reason that the first Dragon's Lair did so much better than that, because who was to see the bad guy turn? I want the dame. Give me Daphne.
I guess this is what you'd call poetic justice.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. That was. Do we have any comments to?
While we're making 80s references.
Yeah.
Tim DeVar's tearing up the comments.
He really is.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and I just really love reminiscing back then. It like in the back of my head, like images of back when I was a kid would pop up.
Right.
With some of those clips or screenshots you showed, it really brought me back. So thank you.
Yeah,
at some point we got to have Jojo just do a photo tour of his studio. Like that could be a whole episode in and of itself.
Oh yeah,
panning from toy to toy.
Yeah, I got a good amount.
Holy cow!
Wow, that's impressive. Hang on a second. Bill
I can't turn the computer enough.
We're going to do a handheld tour at some point.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill. I think I definitely just salivated.
Saying this is from. There you go.
Dragon's Lair 2.
Oh wow.
That's what that's from. Okay. Thanks, Bill. Well, we'll have to do a little more research on that. I'm sorry, Steve. You were salivating over JoJo's toys?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, I mean, it's an impressive collection.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Is there one missing, JoJo, that you're on the hunt for?
One? Yeah, there's a ton. How about
You
you?
want Flint?
What do you collect any toys?
I don't. I started to collect a few when I first started drawing comics, and then I realized how expensive they were and how little space I had. Hang on a second, Scott. Let's take a look at
But
that.
now you have space.
Yeah, but now I don't have the income, so I don't have disposable cash. Wow, Scott, that looks awesome.
Beautiful, Scott.
I was just getting to his legs and his tail.
Damn, very cool.
I totally could see that colored up and framed.
Yeah. Are you gonna have watercolor? You gonna paint it?
I don't know. I might just Copic and finish it with gray tones or whatnot. It's such a long process for me, the idea of coloring. I mean, and I could color it on the computer probably in just, half hour or something, but actual watercolors takes me a while.
Yeah, you should do so Jojo, what do you think, since you are much more the man for this kind of thing, what tools were they using to color this stuff? Is it acrylics? Is it
Mostly
dyes?
wash
Yeah.
and acrylics. Yes.
Okay.
I think they're using something Jeff called a paintbrush. If I'm reading this right from Google.
Do you have to download that? I mean, how do you get what brushes are they using?
Oh, so whoever was painting that, I'm sure it was like 2 or 3 very talented painters, and I'm sure they got a good amount of that budget too, because it really shows their craftsmanship, their knowledge, and like everyone's an expert at animation on that project back then, I think.
Yeah, all the green reflected light on that stone, on the stone and stuff.
Yeah, if you look in the shadows aren't just like a darker color. They are specific blues to offset the warm lights and vice versa.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and especially in something like this, the hots to colds.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well,
Yeah.
the rendering on the stones alone, look at those things. If you just stare at those for a minute, they're really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't have like photo texture stuff that we can overlay on top of their paintings. They had so many different techniques like tissue paper and dabbing,
Sponge and stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Sponges.
Yeah, just the mechanics of painting.
Well, Jojo, thank you very much for coming on the show. I think we should give Jojo full credit. He basically came up with the idea for this show too.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to say my friend Mia also, he showed me a Dragon's Lair clip, and I go, oh my God, I have to contact Hondo and Estib and Sly Shaggy.
Right. Yeah, no, this was great. This was you were saying earlier, Jojo, just how nostalgic seeing these things made you feel, how much they transported you back to being a kid. While I was taking the screenshots too, I felt exactly the same way. I'm like, oh my God, I remember exactly where I was when I first saw this. You saw that scene for the first time, and then the all the memories of like the sounds of old arcades, and it's just so funny how all that stuff is just buried under a secret door. Right?
Absolutely.
Like Tears in Rain, Jeff.
Yes, like Tears in the Rain, like attack ships on fire, Steve. All right, everybody. On that note, I think that we are going to start playing some music, and I'm going to sign us out with this bad boy and say goodbye to everybody.
There it is.
Yeah.
Did you hit the skip button?
Once again, Jojo, thank you very much, guys.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
joining us.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Next
Jojo.
time.
You.